name is Sam and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to do an analysis of my New Year's resolution for 2024. So we're going to see if I was successful and if I achieved the goal that I set myself. It's going to be a very unorthodox video, so do bear with me, and why YouTube still allows me to release content is beyond me, and you'll know what I mean when I tell you what I'm about to tell you. Before we start, it would be great if you could like this video, subscribe to my channel, and also do leave a comment because I am very intrigued to see and to read what you think about my very bizarre resolution. So, I'd never really done or set myself any kind of New Year's resolutions up until 2023. So I knew that was something that people talk about in the films and that some people actually do, but I'd never given it any thought. But then last year, 2023, my New Year's resolution was to have more fun, if you know what I mean. Since I am perpetually single, I might as well make the most of it. And there is always room for improvement, but I have to say that I rolled up my sleeves and I've rolled up my sleeves and down a few more trousers, so I was successful. I'm very proud of myself. And I can't believe I just said that live on TV. And so that was my New Year's resolution for 2023. Now for 2024, I know that most people set themselves goals such as being nicer, be more willing to help people. Some people want to lose weight or exercise more, so things that are considered socially positive, I would say. My New Year's resolution this time was to be less nice and to care less about people. And I'm going to explain why. So, first of all, was I successful? Again, there is still room for improvement, but I'm proud of what I've achieved. Life goals. So, why do I have this very bizarre and, negative goal? I'm going to become a bit more serious now, because it's not a joke, it's really important to me. Unfortunately, and to my own detriment, I am extremely nice, and I know that this is something that everyone says about themselves, but then people turn out not to be nice. So I understand that you, as an audience, can take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt, and you can choose whether to believe it or not, because obviously it's my word against the world's. But yes, unfortunately, I am extremely nice, and I genuinely believe that this is one of the biggest flaws that anyone can have in this world. Unfortunately, so I'm not saying this lightly, and I hate the fact that we live in a world where being nice brings you pain and suffering, and it almost turns into a negative quality to have, because I love the idea of being nice because I can't help it, and also I like it when people are nice to me, obviously. But yes, it's terrible that this is the situation that we find ourselves in. So I am extremely busy as a person because I have several jobs, some of which I've told you already. So I'm a drag queen, I do ASMR, and I'm now starting to code. I'm learning coding, and I've mentioned a few things about this before, and I have a more detailed video coming out in 2 weeks about this. So I am physically very busy in terms of time and hours that I need. So I can't be always there for people physically, and I know that. But I do what I can, and when I am with people, I am really, really nice, and I help people a lot. It's in my nature to help. I'm a teacher, so I'm a helper, and it is in my nature to be as respectful as possible. This does not mean that I'm always respectful. I'm sure that sometimes I'm not, but it doesn't come with any malice. Maybe I behave in a way that to me is respectful, but someone else may perceive that as disrespectful. So if that's ever the case, again, I mean, the end result is still disrespect, which I never mean, so there is no malice. If there is malice, you will know. And obviously, if I do want to be a little bit sharp sometimes, it may happen, but it's not very common. And I care about people a lot, so even though maybe I can't offer myself physically a lot in terms of time, I do a lot of caring and a lot of worrying about other people and trying to make sure that they feel as comfortable as possible around me, and I want to, again, be nice to them. And this, over the years, has brought me a lot of pain, a lot of grief, and a lot of unnecessary worry, because I care about a lot of people more than they care about me. This is not with everyone, obviously. I have dear friends and family that reciprocate what I give them, and they do it naturally. I mean, they don't do it just because I give it to them. I mean, they're nice enough people to do that naturally, which is what I think should be the case with everyone. But yes, I care about people a lot, to the point where I get stressed out about making sure that they feel welcome, they feel comfortable, but they don't do the same to me. Even when, friends that I always try to contact, again, within the limitations of me being very busy, I always try to contact, and then if we don't talk for a long time, I always assume it's my fault, so I always feel like I have to contact them to show them once again that I care enough to want to talk to them. But then, so yes, I always take on the blame for these little things when, if I don't contact you, you can also contact me. And I've understood that, of course, life happens, we are busy, so it's not often meant with malice that we don't hear from each other for a while. It's definitely not meant with any malice from me, so the same can apply to other people. I'm not saying that I automatically assume someone means any malice with what they do, but yes, I always take on the blame, and it's not that anyone blames me, but I always feel guilty. I always feel at fault, basically. And I really want to stress the fact that I don't blame any of how I feel on other people. It's just that I blame myself for feeling this way and for putting all of this extra stress on me, because, again, it's the way I behave and I react. It's not what someone necessarily does to me, so I'm telling myself off for feeling this way and for behaving like this. And yes, people don't particularly care. Like, I had this friend, for example. Yes, we would go months without hearing from each other or talking to each other, which again was a mutual thing, but it was mainly just me contacting him, or when he did contact me first, he said, I haven't heard from you. We haven't talked for a long time. It's been ages." And I'm like, "Yeah, but if you don't even reply to my texts," which is, I mean, it's true. He didn't reply. Well, of course, the conversation can't really carry on, because if I ask you something, you don't reply several times. I mean, what can I do? So, in the past, even on dating apps, for example, I used to be the one that mainly initiated the conversation, and that's absolutely fine, but I would always try to keep it going, even if people didn't give me anything to work with. So, one word answers and no questions, and I always felt that I had to keep asking questions, I had to keep the fire burning, and it was exhausting because what I accuse myself of and what I blame myself for is almost not realising when I have to take a hint. So, again, these people didn't really do anything wrong. They were not interested enough. So, well, in my opinion, if you're not interested, you shouldn't reply to my first text to begin with, because the fact that you're replying tells me that there is some kind of interest, which I then automatically try to explore and nurture. So if I'm not interested, I might be considered brutal, but I do not reply. So I understand that a lot of people just want a little bit of attention, and they enjoy the fact that someone is chasing them, which I find, I mean, I understand, but again, I find that disrespectful, the sort of leading people on. But at the same time, again, I blame myself for not seeing the signs earlier, or rather, I always do see the signs, but I try to ignore them, and again, I try to give my 100% just to make sure that I've given everything that I can. So the other person can't really blame me for maybe not showing enough interest. And to be honest, I'm really glad and happy that I am this way, because yes, I am. I mean, I really do want to give my full self to someone who deserves it, who might deserve it if I don't know them well enough. My instinct is to give them everything that I have, so they can decide if they even want to get to know me better based on all the information that they have. And I actually wish everyone did that, but I've understood that I have to adapt to the different way that the world works, and doing what I do won't really bother other people, but it will bother me. It will give me grief. I'm the one who suffers when people don't reciprocate interest, and it doesn't have to be romantic. Just as human beings. So I'm the one who suffers, and I'm the one who creates all these worries for himself about other people for no reason. For example, and this is a very silly example, but it's very important for me as someone who has to grow out of this. Especially, I'm experiencing this more here in London, because this is where I grew up as an adult. In Italy, I was just a baby, so I never really had to deal with adult stuff. Although I can't always be there physically, I do consider myself very loyal as a friend, and again, I do take people's feelings into consideration. So if someone invites me to their birthday and I like this person and I say that I'm going, I will go unless I get a job offer. So if I get as a drag queen, if I get a last minute job opportunity, I will cancel on anyone and anything because I need, first of all, the money. I love performing, and it's my job, so I do need to eat. But if you tell me to be there, I will be there no matter what, even if I don't particularly like the activity, the setup. It's just for you. I'm coming for you. You're my friend. Here, however, it doesn't really work like that. Here, people say they will come and then they all cancel last minute for all sorts of weird reasons. There is always a relative that you haven't seen for years who has a cat that's having a panic attack. So, you can't come to my birthday because you need to go and rescue this poor cat and save this poor relative because they don't know what to do. There is always something that comes up. There is always someone who's tired, which I find to be the worst excuse. At least come up with something better than that. So, of course, we're all tired, but if I've told you that I'm coming, I am coming, unless, I randomly, if you have a real job and your boss asks you to stay on longer for whatever reason and you can't help that, of course I'll take that as a good reason, but I won't accept anything else unless it's a real health issue, which can happen out of the blue, of course. But all these excuses, I just can't. I don't like them. Well, I don't believe them, first of all, and also I don't like the fact that people don't commit and people feel that they don't owe each other anything, and I really dislike this. This happens a lot. Yes, we don't owe each other anything. This is a very common thing that, at least here in England, people say. Again, I don't know if that's how other cultures feel, because I was never involved in that kind of life situations. But I disagree with that. If I tell you that I'm coming to whatever, even if it's a grinder date, if I say, if we agree on the time and the place to meet, I feel like I owe you the decency of turning up or cancelling within, decent notice for a good reason. And I see that people don't do this, but again, in the past I used to blame them for being very inconsiderate, but now I'm sort of blaming myself for potentially being too considerate in a way that normal people wouldn't be. So I'm starting to think that the problem is with me. And I can see that if you care less, no, I still won't cancel on friends if I've said that I'll be there, again, unless I'm desperate for whatever reason, so something terrible happens. But because I just can't, ethically, I just can't bring myself to do that. But I've noticed that people who behave like this, so they care less, they suffer less, so they are happier. And it's true what they say, that yes, people that don't care, they live a happier life. It will be emptier, maybe, but they're happier. So, to be honest, being happy outweighs being empty at this point in my life, at least. So, yes, I'm learning to care less. I'm learning to chase people a bit less. So, I show you that I'm interested as a friend, as a potential boyfriend, as a date, whatever, and then if I don't receive anything, I end things much quicker now. Again, even simply on Grindr or on Hinge, or even on people that I meet in person. If I see no interest, I give them something just so they can. So I open the door, but then if they don't come in, that's it. I will let them go. So I'm proud of myself for doing that. I can still learn to do it more and to care even less, but it's slowly happening, and I am trying to force myself to learn to be nice only to people that deserve it. And I know that it's a terrible thing to say, especially as someone who grew up religious. So I'm I'm trying to teach myself all the things that I was taught not to do, because obviously we are taught to turn the other cheek and all of that. I don't believe in that anymore, unfortunately. I wish I was such a saint that I could still do that, and I could still see the potential in that. So it really devastates me inside to have come to these conclusions. And also this means that I have to actively work on myself, so I have to put the effort in. I have to really work hard to make sure that I become less nice. I mean, what's a world to come to? But I really do have to do it because I will benefit from it. When I see the people, again, mean malice actively, not by accident, and it's not just a difference in the way I interpret an action that they do. I mean, when I see that they mean, they want to be bad, or at least they actively decide not to care. I'm now learning to basically give them a taste of their own medicine if it happens. I mean, I don't actively pursue revenge, but basically I'm starting to tell myself that maybe I have to stop doing things for people that people wouldn't do for me. And again, this is terrible because, like, my mum really is a saint. She helps people a lot. She is very welcoming. She really is there for people, and people treat her like mud in return because they know that they can walk all over her because she's nice. And that's what people, at least especially in the past, tended to do with me, because I'm so nice and cute, and he would never get offended, and I'm sure this is what people say. Oh, it's just Sam, he's so nice, he would never get offended. So they feel that they can walk all over me. And I used to let them, because I used to like being nice just for the sake of it, and I did not want to get anything in return. It was never my intention. And I never set out to be nice just because I wanted people to be nice to me in return. But now I have to try and make that mental switch in my head where some people are just not worth it. And I'm sure that, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, I'm sure that I'm not worth it for some other people. So, and again, I'm sure that I do things that other people don't like, they don't accept, they don't agree with, and maybe they see malice in some things that I do by mistake. So it's all a matter of interpretation and point of view, and how we click as people. But yes, so I am very used to going out of my way to meet people, to do something for people, and I do it very gladly and genuinely. But now I'm starting to think, would they do that for me? And if the answer is no, again, I'm forcing myself to feel less guilty and terrible for potentially not doing it, or for not being there as much as I would like to be, simply because other people wouldn't do the same for me. And I am sure that maybe they wouldn't even see that as a fault of mine. Like, if I didn't, show up, I'm sure they wouldn't think I am a bad person or anything, because they do the same, so they wouldn't even give it any thought. But it's me who gives it a lot of thought, and who would feel guilty or bad for not doing something that maybe I promised to do, or something like that. I hope I'm making myself clear, because I'm not giving you specific examples, because, to be completely honest, now that I need to talk about this thing, no examples are coming to mind, obviously, when you need something. But my resolution has is a result of a lot of years of of grief brought on by all these little instances that I've faced in my life. So yes, I am exactly like my mum. I mean, we are helpers, we do want to be nice to people, and again, genuinely so, there is no ulterior motive, we can't even help it. But I have to not stop, but I have to harness it and channel it towards things and people that do matter, and I have to stop feeling bad for everything and everyone else, if that makes sense. So yes, I've let friends get, it's not that I've ended friendships, but I've stopped pursuing friendships and maybe were not giving me much because it was always me doing all the giving. So I'm happy about that. Well, sad that it had to come to that, but I'm happy because, I mean, it was a one-way relationship basically. And yes, and most of what I've just said applies mainly to strangers, in the sense that if you are a good dear friend, then I will still be nice and all of that, because it's my way of showing my care and love for you. But it's mainly with people that I don't know, that show me, they show me from the very beginning what they're willing to give, and I need to make a quick assessment as to whether it's worth my time and energy. And again, about being nice, if people are nasty to me, I won't necessarily be nasty back out of spite, but I will just remove them from my list of potential friends. And yes, if it happens that maybe I say something slightly nasty, which, I mean, as you know, I can't lie, and I'm very brutal with what I say. So with friends, I try to sort of stop myself a little bit. I try to be a little bit more socially acceptable. But with people that don't show me any kind of value, then if I let a few things slip out of my mouth which are socially unacceptable, then I don't particularly care. Okay, so I hope I've made myself clear. Actually, I've just said something that I don't agree with. When I said that with friends I try to stop myself. Actually, no. With my friends, if they're really good friends, I don't stop myself because I do want to be myself. And if they're my friends, it's because I know that they can take my brutality. Okay, so yes, I will take that back. But sometimes if I'm too brutal, okay, yeah, that's what I should have said. Sometimes if I'm too brutal in something that I say, maybe not about them, but in general, I do then go home and think, oh, was that a bit too much? Was it too socially brutal? I meant it, so I don't feel sorry for saying it, but maybe I think, oh, maybe I could have phrased it in a more socially acceptable way. But then, yes, my really close friends know not to take offence, because they know they can see what I mean behind the rough surface. But then with friends, I do feel bad if I catch myself being a little bit sharp, but now I'm trying to learn not to feel bad if I am a bit, again, sharp with people that are either bad people and that have shown me no interest, no care, and no will to respect me. Okay, let's put it like that. Okay, on this note, what can I say? I will let you go. I'll let you think about the absurd things that I've just said. And if I lose a lot of subscribers, I'll know why. And I'll blame myself for it, so don't worry, I won't blame you. And I will see you soon. Bye bye.